Today, I want to share something with you that will absolutely change the way you approach learning English. I want you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to say could completely transform your journey, from struggling to speaking confidently and fluently. Let me tell you something right now. English is not impossible. It's not as difficult as you think. Yes, you can speak English fluently, and I promise you, you can do it much faster than you imagine. I know that many of you feel nervous when it's time to speak. I know some of you hesitate, you get stuck, or worse, you don't even try because you're afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you've been learning English for years and still feel like you can't speak as well as you'd like. You know the words, you understand the grammar when you read, but when it's time to speak, your mind freezes. I understand you completely, because I've been there. Learning a new language is not easy. I know how it feels to want to speak, but not have the right words. I know the frustration when you hear people speak so fast and you can't understand them. But today, my friends, I want to tell you something that will ease your struggles. You don't have to struggle anymore. You don't have to feel stuck, afraid, or overwhelmed. Because today, I'm going to teach you how to learn English in the easiest, most natural way. I want you to think of English as something you are going to live rather than something you are going to simply study. English is not something that should be confined to grammar books, vocabulary lists, or classroom lectures. It should be something that you hear, think in, and speak every single day. You can do this. Let's start with your mindset. Step 1. Believe that English is easy. The first and most important thing is to change your mindset. If you believe that English is difficult, your brain will keep resisting it. But if you believe that English is easy, your brain will start to embrace it. Let me tell you something. Mistakes are part of the process. Do you remember when you learned to walk as a child? You fell down so many times, but did you stop trying? No. You kept going, and eventually, walking became second nature. This is how learning English works. Don't focus on being perfect. Focus on practicing. If you are not making mistakes, you are not learning. I want you to say this with me. English is easy. I can speak English. I am learning every day. Say it out loud. Repeat it. Believe it. And you will start to notice a shift in how your brain processes English. Your confidence will begin to grow, and you will find yourself becoming more comfortable with the language. Changing your mindset is the first step, and it's a powerful one. Once you believe that English is easy, you'll start to see that the learning process itself becomes easier. Step 2. Surround yourself with English. Now that your mindset is aligned, let's dive into step 2. Surround yourself with English every day. Many people believe that in order to speak fluently, you have to live in an English-speaking country. But that's a myth. You can create an English-speaking environment wherever you are. Let's break this down. You don't need to go to an English-speaking country. You don't need to be constantly surrounded by native speakers. And you don't even need to take expensive classes. You simply need to start incorporating English into your daily routine. Here's what you can do. Change your phone's language to English. Every time you check your phone, you'll be reading in English. Whether you're checking messages, looking at social media, or reading notifications, your brain will start getting comfortable with English. Start thinking in English. Right now, you think in your native language and then translate it into English. This makes speaking slow and awkward. Instead, start thinking in English. It could be as simple as thinking, I am getting up, I am brushing my teeth, or I need to go to the supermarket. Start with small thoughts, and before you know it, your brain will begin thinking in English. without needing to translate. Talk to yourself in English. Yes, you heard that right. Talk to yourself. Stand in front of a mirror and have simple conversations. This is one of the best ways to practice without the fear of being judged. You can ask yourself questions and answer them aloud. This will also help you with your speaking and pronunciation. Imagine yourself talking to someone. If you were in a conversation with a friend, how would you respond? Practice this every day. Label everything in your house in English. Take small pieces of paper, write the English names of objects, and stick them around your house. Every time you see something, say the word out loud. This will make English feel like part of your daily life. For example, when you see the refrigerator, say out loud, "This is a refrigerator. I keep food inside it." When you see a book, say, "This is a book. I am reading this book today." These small changes in your environment will help immerse you in the language. Step 3. Stop worrying about grammar. Let's address one of the most common barriers to speaking: grammar. Many people believe that they need to learn perfect grammar before they start speaking. Let me tell you, this is a huge mistake. If you focus too much on grammar, you will always be afraid of making mistakes. And if you are afraid of making mistakes, you will never speak confidently. Think about it. When children learn to speak their native language, they don't memorize grammar rules first. They listen to their parents, repeat words, and eventually start forming sentences. That's exactly how you should learn. Forget about being perfect. Focus on learning to speak first and worry about perfect grammar later. Start with simple sentences like, "I am eating. She is going to the market. They are playing football." These simple sentences will help you understand how English works, and before long, you'll find yourself using more complex structures naturally. The key is repetition. Keep saying these sentences until they become second nature. Step 4. Speak English in your daily life. Now that we've surrounded ourselves with English, it's time to speak it in your daily life. Every action you do can be described in English. The key is to make it natural and part of your routine. When you wake up, brush your teeth, make tea, go for a walk, or even meet friends, you can practice English throughout your day. Let me give you some examples. In the morning, when you wake up, say, "Good morning, I feel great today." In the kitchen, when you're making breakfast, say, "I'm making tea. This tea smells wonderful." At the market, when you're shopping, you can say, "Excuse me, do you have fresh tomatoes?" Or, "How much is this?" With friends, "Hey, how's it going? Want to hang out today?" Start having simple, everyday conversations. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just keep speaking. Step 5. Boost your pronunciation and confidence. Here's one of the most powerful secrets to speaking English fluently. Listen and repeat. When you hear a new sentence, don't just understand it, say it out loud. Copy the pronunciation, copy the tone. This will help you sound more natural. Another tip is to speak slowly and clearly. Many people think that speaking fast will make them sound fluent, but it only makes them harder to understand. Speak clearly, and people will listen. Also, try recording your voice. Listen to how you sound and compare it to native speakers. This will help you identify areas for improvement. By doing this consistently, you'll notice an improvement in both your pronunciation and confidence. Step 6. Overcome fear and hesitation. Now, let's talk about fear. Fear is the biggest obstacle, but it's something you can overcome with practice. One simple rule to overcome hesitation: the 3-second rule. When you want to speak, give yourself 3 seconds. Don't think too much, just speak. The more you do this, the more confident you will become. Remember, mistakes are part of learning. Even native speakers make mistakes, so don't worry if you make them too. Step 7. Think in English. Finally, start thinking in English. This is the key to speaking fluently without hesitation. When you think in your native language and then translate to English, you slow down your speech. Instead, train your brain to think in English. Start with simple words. When you wake up in the morning, look around and name the things in English: bed, pillow, window. Gradually move on to simple sentences. I am brushing my teeth. I am eating my breakfast. Or, the weather is nice today. The more you practice thinking in English, the more natural speaking will feel. So, my amazing students, you now have everything you need to speak English confidently and fluently. The only thing standing between you and your success is fear and hesitation, but you now know how to overcome both. Remember, English is not difficult. The more you practice, the more you will improve. Never give up. Keep speaking, keep listening, keep thinking in English, and soon enough, you'll speak English like a pro. Now, let's talk about something incredibly important when it comes to speaking English fluently: pronunciation. If you want to speak English confidently and sound more natural, improving your pronunciation is key. I know that many of you are worried about your accent or how others might perceive your speaking skills. You might feel nervous when speaking because you're concerned about your pronunciation not being clear or accurate. But I want you to know this right now. Pronunciation is not about perfection. It's about being clear, being understood, and most importantly, gaining confidence. I'm going to take you step by step through some powerful techniques that will help you improve your pronunciation and sound more natural when speaking English. These tips are easy to follow, and with consistent practice, you'll notice significant improvement in no time. Step 1. Listen and imitate. The power of listening. One of the most effective ways to improve your pronunciation is to listen to how native speakers pronounce words and sentences. You must actively listen to their intonation, rhythm, and pronunciation patterns. Listening is the foundation of speaking because it trains your brain to recognize and reproduce sounds correctly. Here's what you need to do. Choose a source. Pick a podcast, YouTube video, or TV show with native English speakers. Make sure it's content you enjoy and can easily understand. Listen actively, focus on how the speaker pronounces each word, and pay attention to the rise and fall of their voice, the speed at which they speak, and how they stress different words. This will help you understand the rhythm of English. Imitate and repeat. After listening to a sentence, pause and repeat it out loud. Try to mimic not only the words but also the tone, pitch, and rhythm. Repeat this process as many times as needed until you sound more natural. For example, listen to the sentence, "I want to go to the park." Pay attention to how the speaker says want and how to is pronounced. Repeat it several times until your pronunciation matches. By consistently listening and imitating, you will train your mouth and brain to produce English sounds more naturally. Listening and imitating is one of the best tools you have. Step 2. Speak slowly and clearly. Many learners of English try to speak quickly because they think it will make them sound more fluent. However, this can actually cause your pronunciation to become unclear. Speaking quickly often leads to mispronunciations and makes it harder for people to understand you. The key to improving your pronunciation is to speak slowly and clearly. Don't rush. Focus on each word and its sound. Speaking slowly helps you pronounce words correctly and also gives you time to think about how to form the sounds. Try this. Slow down when you speak, especially when practicing. Focus on pronouncing each sound clearly. Break down difficult words into smaller parts. For example, when you pronounce the word unbelievable, slowly say each syllable and then put them together. Record yourself speaking slowly. Listen back to the recording and check if the words are clear. This exercise helps you spot any mispronunciations. Speaking slowly doesn't mean speaking too slowly, like a robot. It just means giving each sound the attention it deserves, so you can be clearly understood. Step 3. Focus on problem sounds. English has many sounds that are difficult to pronounce for non-native speakers. These include sounds that don't exist in your native language or sounds that change depending on where the word is stressed. Practice tip. Stick your tongue slightly out between your teeth and blow air gently. Say the words think and this while focusing on the sound. The R sound. In English, the R sound is pronounced differently than in many languages, especially at the beginning or end of a word. To make the English R, pull the tongue back toward the roof of your mouth and don't let the tip of your tongue touch your teeth. Practice words like red, car, and better. The L and R distinction. For many learners, especially speakers of languages like Japanese or Korean, the L and R sounds can be confusing. For the L sound, put the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth behind your upper teeth. For the R sound, pull the tongue back without touching the roof of your mouth. Practice with words like lake and rake. Spend extra time on these sounds and repeat them until they feel more natural. It's important to listen to native speakers and try to imitate how they pronounce these sounds. Step 4. Use tongue twisters. Tongue twisters are an excellent way to improve your pronunciation. They help train your mouth to pronounce difficult combinations of sounds more clearly. The more you practice tongue twisters, the more you will develop control over your pronunciation. Here are a few examples. She sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Start by saying them slowly and carefully, and then gradually increase your speed as you become more comfortable. You'll notice that your mouth and tongue become more flexible and can handle more complex words and sounds. Step 5. Practice stress and intonation. English is a stress-timed language, which means that certain syllables are stressed more than others in each word or sentence. The rhythm of the language depends on the stress pattern, and this affects the way you pronounce words. Here's how you can practice stress and intonation. Listen to the word carefully and repeat it several times, stressing the correct syllable. You can also try clapping your hands on the stressed syllable to emphasize the rhythm. Sentence stress and intonation. In sentences, some words are stressed more than others, usually the important content words. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, etc. Unstressed words, articles, prepositions, auxiliary verbs are said more quickly and softly. Practice tip. Listen to natural English speakers and notice which words they stress. Repeat sentences and practice stressing the important words while softening the less important ones. For example, I want to go to the store. In this sentence, want and store are stressed, and the other words are said quickly and softly. Step 6. Record yourself. Finally, record yourself speaking. This is one of the most effective ways to assess and improve your pronunciation. By listening to yourself, you can identify areas that need improvement. Here's how to do it. Record yourself speaking a few sentences. Listen carefully and compare your pronunciation to that of native speakers. Focus on any areas that sound off and practice them until you feel more confident. Improving your pronunciation takes time and effort, but I promise you, it's worth it. The more you practice, the more natural your pronunciation will become, and the more confident you will feel when speaking. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about being understood and being confident. Keep listening, imitating, and practicing every day. Over time, you will notice huge improvements in your pronunciation, and you'll feel much more comfortable speaking English. Now, we're going to dive into one of the most exciting aspects of learning English: vocabulary. Building a strong vocabulary is essential if you want to express yourself more clearly, speak confidently, and truly master the English language. I know many of you feel that learning vocabulary can be overwhelming. There are so many words, and sometimes it feels like no matter how many new words you learn, you still forget them or can't use them in the right context. But don't worry. I'm here to tell you that improving your vocabulary does not have to be difficult. In fact, with the right strategies, you can learn new words quickly and start using them naturally in your speaking and writing. So, let's explore some powerful techniques to help you expand your vocabulary in the most effective and enjoyable way possible. Step 1. Read every day. The best way to learn new words. The first and most natural way to learn new vocabulary is through reading. Reading exposes you to new words in context, helping you understand how they are used in real-life situations. But let me tell you this. Don't just read to understand the meaning of words. Read actively. Pay attention to unfamiliar words and make sure you understand them. When you come across a new word, don't just skip it. Here's how you can make the most out of reading. Read a variety of materials. Books, articles, blogs, newspapers, even social media posts can all help you expand your vocabulary. Pick materials that interest you so that reading doesn't feel like a chore. Highlight or underline unfamiliar words. If you're reading on paper, highlight the words you don't know. If you're reading digitally, use the built-in features to underline them. Look up the meaning of the word. Use a dictionary to check the meaning, but also check how it's used in context. Many online dictionaries even provide examples of the word in sentences, which is really helpful. Practice writing the new word down. Write a sentence using the word you've learned to reinforce it in your memory. For example, if you come across the word serendipity, which means a happy accident or finding something good without looking for it, write a sentence like this: I found my favorite book by pure serendipity while cleaning the attic. By reading regularly, you'll not only learn new words, but also improve your understanding of how words are used in different contexts. Step 2. Use flashcards to reinforce your vocabulary. One of the oldest but most effective methods to learn vocabulary is using flashcards. Flashcards help reinforce words and their meanings by engaging your memory in an active way. Here's how to use flashcards effectively. Write the word on one side of the card and its meaning or a sentence on the other side. For example, word, serendipity. Meaning, a happy accident, finding something good by chance. Sentence, it was pure serendipity that I found the perfect gift for my friend in that small shop. Review your flashcards regularly. Repetition is key to memorizing new vocabulary. Review your cards at least once a day. Use apps like Anki, Quizlet, or even traditional paper flashcards to help you organize your vocabulary learning. Use images. You can even add pictures or symbols to help you remember the meaning of a word more easily. For example, for serendipity, you could add a picture of someone finding a treasure unexpectedly. By consistently using flashcards, you're reinforcing the words in your long-term memory and making sure they stick. Step 3. Learn words in groups or themes. Another effective strategy is to learn words in groups or related themes. Instead of learning isolated words, grouping them together based on their meaning or context will make it easier to remember them and use them correctly. For example, emotions, happy, sad, angry, frustrated, excited, anxious, joyful, travel vocabulary, flight, passport, suitcase, destination, luggage, hotel, tour guide, business vocabulary, meeting, presentation, deadline, negotiation, client, contract, proposal. By learning words in context or related to specific topics, you will be able to recall them more easily and use them in the right situations. Here's how you can start. Pick a theme each week, such as travel, food, or business, and focus on learning 10 to 15 words related to that theme. Create mini lists of words you want to learn each week. For example, you could make a list of verbs, run, jump, swim, etc. Adjectives, beautiful, strong, tall, and nouns, dog, house, computer, etc. This method will help you build your vocabulary in a practical way and give you the confidence to speak on a variety of topics. Step 4. Use new words in sentences. Once you learn a new word, don't just memorize it, use it. The best way to make a word stick is by incorporating it into your speaking and writing. Try using new words in sentences, paragraphs, and conversations. Here's how to do this. Write sentences with new words. Practice using them in different contexts. For example, if you learn the word magnificent, you can write, "The view from the mountaintop was magnificent. She wore a magnificent red dress to the party." Speak with new words. Don't be afraid to try using your new words when you speak. Start with simple sentences and gradually increase the complexity. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Ask someone to correct you. If you're practicing with a friend or a teacher, ask them to correct your use of new words. This will help you use them properly in future conversations. Using the words you learn in real-life contexts will make them feel more natural and help you remember them for the long term. Step 5. Learn synonyms and antonyms. Another great way to improve your vocabulary is by learning synonyms, words that have the same meaning, and antonyms, words that have the opposite meaning. For example, synonyms for happy will be joyful, content, delighted, cheerful, pleased. Synonyms for sad will be unhappy, sorrowful, gloomy, disappointed, melancholic. Synonyms for big will be huge, large, enormous, gigantic, massive. By learning synonyms and antonyms, you not only expand your vocabulary, but also learn how to use words in different contexts. This will give you more variety when you speak and write. Step 6. Engage in conversations and use new words. The final and most important step is to engage in real conversations. Practice is key when it comes to vocabulary. The more you speak and write in English, the more opportunities you'll have to use the new words you've learned. Start by speaking with friends, teachers, or language partners in English. Even if you make mistakes, it's the practice that counts. Writing short stories or journals using your new words. This can be a fun way to challenge yourself and reflect on your progress. Expanding your vocabulary is not something that happens overnight, but with consistent practice, you'll see significant improvement. The key is to make vocabulary learning a daily habit. By reading, practicing new words in context, and engaging in conversations, you'll be able to expand your vocabulary and speak more naturally and confidently. Remember, don't just memorize words, use them, play with them, and make them part of your everyday life. You have the power to unlock your English fluency through the words you know. Keep practicing, and soon enough, you'll have an amazing vocabulary at your disposal.